Hello everyone and welcome back. This is a follow-up video to the one I posted earlier in the day about Natasha Lyonne. She is a child actress who I guess earlier on, about 20 years ago, she got addicted to various substances, and she has been sharing publicly about the fact she had a relapse. And I'll put a link to this article in the description to the video. But I thought this was really, really interesting because she says in here, Natasha Lyonne urges fans not to quit before the miracle, following relapse after a decade of sobriety. And first of all, she's incredibly brave to share her journey. And I really, I'm grateful to her for sharing this because this is inspirational stuff when somebody's willing to talk about what is a very, very personal problem. Now, the other thing that I thought was interesting about this article and really what resonated with me is the idea of, and I think the title alludes to it, not to quit before the miracle. So what do I mean by that? So in the prior video, I talked about what it looks like to work with us, right? What does the recovery journey look like? And I always say, recovery is not a destination, it's a journey. You don't do a little bit of treatment and you're good to go for the rest of your life. It simply doesn't work that way. And to Miss Lyonne's credit, as she, honestly and openly and talked about, sometimes a relapse can be part of the journey. Not in every case, but sometimes it happens, okay? And good for her to share this. But working with us typically is a year-long process. And as I talked about in the other video, you want to try and get somebody in recovery for 1 year. Why? Because we know from just experience, the families that work the recovery journey for a year, not necessarily with us. You don't necessarily need us for a year, but sometimes we're on the case for a year, maybe not actively working on it, but they're in the background to monitor things, hold your hand through the process. If you can get somebody through that first year, great chance they stay in recovery for the rest of their life. Now, like Miss Lyonne, there may be a relapse, but if you've done the work for the year, you know what it takes to then get back on, back onto the proverbial bus, right? Get onto the proverbial wagon, get back into recovery. So if you can work the program for a year, if the family can work their program for a year, there's a great chance for a really, really, fulfilling and successful outcome. But where we have the most issues is where a family, for lack of a better word, pulls the plug after a short period of time. And I see this every once in a while, and it's heartbreaking. A family will retain us. We'll do what we need to do from a legal perspective. The clinical team will do what they need to do from a clinical perspective. And someone's in treatment for 30 days or 60 days. And then the family says, okay, we're good to go. We don't need this court order in place. We got it. They've promised us, our loved one, our son, our daughter, whoever has promised us they got it from here. And our response is, no, they don't. They don't got it. They haven't had it for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, even longer. I mean, these are the kinds of cases that come to us, right? These very difficult, challenging cases. They don't got it. Well, we spoke to them and they said they did. And right now they're not using. Well, of course they're not using. They're in treatment. If they're in treatment and they've just suddenly started to experience sobriety, recovery, they're taking their medications, they're doing what needs to be done, they're working the program. Yeah, this is a beautiful thing, but this is just the beginning. And the families that say to us, no, we got it, they're fine, they promised us they've got it. Well, by the way, they've made that promise, 15 times over and then some, and they haven't been able to maintain recovery. And just so we're clear here, this is not because your loved one is a bad person. This is not a character assassination. They have a disease, and it's as if their brain had been kidnapped. Okay, they're not capable of making the decision to save themselves. So you did the amazing, brave, courageous thing, and you made the decision for them, and you saved them. Now you have to make the decision, the courageous, brave decision, to keep them in treatment long enough, so that they can not only experience recovery, but so they can maintain it. And like Miss Lyonne, God forbid there's a relapse, they know how to deal with it. Right? They know what it takes to experience the miracle, and so they can work the program. They go back into the program, and I'm willing to bet she has a sponsor that she reached out to when there was a relapse, who helped her, who supported her. She had a whole community of people in the recovery, space, the recovery community, who I'm sure came to her rescue, because that's what the recovery community does, right? It takes a village to not only experience recovery, but to be able to maintain it. And so, when a family comes to us and they say, well, we only want to do 30 days of treatment or 60 days, I say, listen, I'd love to help you, but you got the wrong lawyer. You've got the wrong lawyer, because I know what's going to happen. I know this is going to fail, and I want to do this for you, and I want to get it right the first time. And maybe there'll be a relapse, but at least we're there on the journey with you, holding your hand, crossing those bridges, so we can get back onto the proverbial wagon and address this issue. But if you allow your loved one to leave after 30 days or 60 days, they simply don't have the skill set, not even close, to being able to maintain recovery. And, like any disease, when it looks like it's in check and you let it off the hook, it comes back, and it comes back raging. It fights. It's going to fight the recovery process because it doesn't want to die. Okay, so I hope that you understand. And if you're a family out there who's been dealing with this, we'd love to help you and talk about what options may or may not be available. Maybe it's a legal option. Maybe it's not a legal option. Okay, we have tons of resources, and we're here to help you to save your family. And if working with us is what we think is the right journey, the right path, we'll tell you. If we don't, we'll tell you that too. It's about having an open and honest conversation with you, but it starts with you deciding, I want to find out what options may be available for our family. So if you have any comments or questions, or disagree or agree with me, or want me to make a video about what your family is dealing with, post something in the comments. I read all of them, and I typically respond within a day. If you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to get more of this content, please subscribe to the channel. I'm putting out a video or 2 videos, or sometimes even more, every day. I really, really, really want you to have the information as, and how it works in the real world, not what you read on Google. How does recovery work in the real world? I want you to have that information so you can decide whether or not you're willing to talk to us. And I appreciate your time. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.